Hi-ho, Andrew here. Welcome to the Onion Buns, and welcome to a new edition of Let's Talk. I want to do something a little bit different. I love learning about conceptual technology. Now, I want to be upfront here. Most of the stuff I'm going to show you in this video is in conceptual stages. That means it may never come to be. It's a concept. The people that have it are looking for funding. But as we know, sometimes no matter how noble or promising or great an idea, it doesn't get funded because it is counter to what, in the medical field, for big pharma. If they have a pill that they're selling for $1,000, well, they're going to try to block the funding for something that is going to take away from that profit margin. I know that's kind of it's not a tinfoil hat theory. It's been proven beyond doubt, so we know it's real. But it's kind of a negative outlook. But it's the reality of the world we live in. So, as I said, I love sci-fi conceptual technology. So some of the stuff I'm going to show you now is in effect already. Some of it is coming into effect. Some of it is just, here's our concept. And if they can get funding, maybe it'll come into reality. Or more accurately, it will come into reality, just maybe not in our lifetime. And unfortunately, that's the situation. So before we get to that, hey all, just a quick mention here. Please like, subscribe, share, and comment on the videos you like. It helps with the YouTube algorithm, which helps me. Takes 2 seconds. So thanks in advance. Okay, so let's get started, shall we? So the first one I want to talk to you about is the UK scientists turned a 53-year-old skin into 23 again, without stem cells, and the youth stayed permanent. Now, this is one of those conceptual ones where they think they know how to do this. They need the funding to do it. But it's still, and it's something right out of science fiction. If you were altered carbon, that was one of the basis for the television show, which if you've never watched, go watch season 1 of Altered Carbon. Don't watch season 2, it is crap, but go watch season 1. It's a spectacular science fiction series. And one of the concepts they had was cloning. And what they're talking about here, the UK scientists turned 53-year-old skin into 23 again, that's cloning. Indirectly. So, yeah, I think that's fantastic. It's like, because from that, you could get into stuff like skin cancer, curing skin cancer, burn victims, replacing skin. Like, the uses are unlimited. And why would anyone be against that? Unfortunately, there will be some people that are against that. Because, again, corporation, profit, will try to block some of this stuff. So, next one I have for you. France built a system that makes clean hydrogen from seawater. No brine, no chlorine, no fresh water needed. So, here's the problem. I didn't read about this in any scientific journal. I got this off Facebook. So this may be true. This may be pie in the sky. This may be concept. I don't know. This is the problem with modern social media, is you don't always know what's true or not. But again, this is a great concept moving forward for clean energy. Now, I'm not one of the nut jobs that's against oil and gas. I have absolutely no time or energy for those people. But I also don't object to proper clean energy. And if France is really building something like this, I say thumbs up. Let's get it going. Especially if it can do it on the ocean. That's the big one for me. The biggest water masses we have are the ocean. You see all these pictures of these solar panels covering land, and that's not environmentalism. It's really not. That is business. You're destroying land mass and calling it clean energy. Now, if you can build this from seawater without disrupting the ocean or heating up the ocean, that's an absolute home run to me, and that's something we should be looking into, in my opinion anyway. This one has to do with the first one. Engineers have developed a self-healing robotic skin that can repair and reset on its own. No human assistance needed. So this is more AI robotics, and the fear mongers out there will start screaming about Terminator and everything. But you don't have to go to the worst case scenario. You can acknowledge the worst case scenario and try to put in steps to avoid the worst case scenario. But again, this is great. We are entering a robotic AI era, whether people like it or not. We are. And if this can help with the robots, cyborgs, awesome. And the way my mind works is if they can do this on a robot, then eventually they can do this on a human, which brings us back to burn victims, and skin cancer and just every ailment on the skin. And that's a good thing, or it should be viewed as a good thing. This one is reality. AI drones are replanting forests from the sky 10 times faster than humans. Nature's comeback just went autonomous. So I've actually read about this. This is real. They're using drones to replant forests that have been the Canadian Prime Minister, Mark Carney, he deforested, let me look it up for you so you can quote me on this. I will actually share you the news article on it. Mark Carney, as when he was with Brookfield prior to be elected as the Liberal leader and the Canadian Prime Minister, gag, his company, under his orders, cut down in 2012 to 2021, Brookfield Asset Management subsidiary deforested around 9,000 hectares on 8 large farms in the Cerrado region of Brazil. Now, it's part of the Brazilian rainforest. So I will share you the news article to that in the description. But what I'm talking about here, will start to correct some of those problems. So they are using drones. There's another, let's see if I can find it here for you. Yeah, the other part of that is Brazil robots. They're using little robots. They're like tread. Well, take a look at the picture here rather than me trying to describe it. Brazil robots plant 100 trees an hour and choose species based on soil memory and jungle intelligence. So they're not just planting trees, they're planting trees that will thrive in the Brazilian rainforest because of companies like Mark Carney and Brookfield deforesting the rainforest. Now, the reason this is important is the number one ecological environmental aid we have in the world to fight carbon is the Brazilian rainforest. It should be protected. Nobody, and I mean absolutely nobody, should be cutting down trees there, but they are. As I said at the start, business gets in the way of what's right. So this is great news. Between the drones planting seeds and these robots planting 100 trees an hour, this is fantastic news. Hopefully they can start to undo the damage done by the people like Mark Carney. That would be my hope anyway. All right, so let's go to something a little more cool. Suzuki launches $3,000 robotic transport dog designed to revolutionize urban mobility. It can navigate stairs and even uneven terrain, making it a versatile option for city travel. The only thing I can say about this, I think this is fantastic. There's only two problems that I see for myself. One, you have to get a trailer for it. And how would that trailer happen? I mean, that trailer's not going to work for stairs and that. So, but for you get a trailer and you take this and you go shopping, that's fantastic. And $3,000 is affordable. You know, like that's cheaper than what freaking motorized wheelchairs cost nowadays. So that's fantastic by Suzuki. The other problem I see for this, though, is here in Edmonton, Alberta, anyway, is during the wintertime, it's not viable because you're not covered, you're not protected from the elements. You know, you're riding what looks like a dog, a motorized dog. Yeah, that's great for the spring, the summer, and the fall when it's not raining, but during the winter, that is not viable at all. So, but still, I think it's a great idea. You know, especially that it can handle stairs, because that is a big problem for disabled people, is not everything has ramps for their wheelchairs, or like I use a cane, and if I can, I'll walk up the ramp rather than stairs because it's just easier. It really is. So you get one of these and it'll climb the stairs. That's fantastic. This one I really, really love. And I've been talking about this forever. Like I mentioned it already. I absolutely hate seeing solar panels covering nonstop swaths of farmland. That's farmland. We don't need to cover that up with solar panels. Like, I don't understand do the left not understand that we do need to eat? We cannot replace food with solar panels. So anyway, with this, Germany's solar fences. What these are solar panels, but they're on fences. So you see, like when you're driving down the street here in Edmonton, when you're driving down the street, you'll see sound barriers on busy roads, and behind them is urban areas. Well, Germany's putting up solar fences. So rather than having that sound wall, you can have solar panels. They collect the power, they store the power, they make electricity, but they don't take up swaths and swaths and swaths of land. And this is how you need to do solar panels, in my opinion, is you need to find a way to put them into function in society without being in the way. So like another idea, I don't have a picture of this one, but is when you make a parking lot in an apartment complex, put solar panels above the parking lot. That's the roofs, that's the covering for the parking lot. Perfect. You're using vertical design. It's not in the way, and you're getting just as much productivity from them as you would if you put them in a field. But now that field is open for farming, for whatever. So I love this by Germany, and I think this is a great idea, and I hope people start adopting this. You know, I got no problem with solar power as long as we put it into use smartly. And this is smart. So this one is carrying on with what I was saying about the robotic, is China's new biopatch heals organs without surgery, no scalpel, no stitches, no regeneration. Now, I think this is conceptual. I do not think this is reality yet. But it's China, so they'll probably have a lot easier time finding funding to explore this than we would in North America for numerous reasons that I'm not going to go into, but it's a great idea. And keeping on that, scientists have developed a breakthrough treatment that makes cancer cells produce their own anti-cancer drugs, destroying themselves from within while leaving unhealthy cells untouched. Or sorry, while leaving healthy cells untouched. Now, I think this is concept, and I think this will get significant pushback from pharmaceutical companies to try to block this. Because again, cancer drugs are big business, big profits, and they're not going to go down without a fight on that one. You know, that's just the reality of the world we live in. So a Czech company, much like the German company with the solar panels, Czech company repurposes discarded tires to create durable noise reduction barriers, aiming to prevent 300 million tires from ending up in landfills. That's awesome. That's recycling, plain and simple, and it's awesome. And why not? Now, I prefer solar panels, but if you can't do solar panels, these would be a far cheaper solution for cutting down that noise into urban areas, like along busy roads in cities and everything. And the picture here doesn't look all that bad either. So, yeah, that's a great idea. Like I said, these are technologies I like, whether they're conceptual, reality, or just pie in the sky. I love this stuff. This one is reality. Skydiver drops 100 million seeds to reforest the Amazon. So people are, environmentalist groups and scientists are really pushing back at people like Prime Minister Mark Carney in Brookfield. They are damaging the Amazon rainforest, and scientists and environmentalists are coming up with unique ways to push back at corporate idiots like them. And I love this. I absolutely love this. 100 million seeds to, you're up in the air, drop them, the air will spread them out. It's a great idea. Now, this is interesting. Japanese scientists have developed artificial photosynthesis that's 10 times more effective than trees. So again, this is conceptual, but I don't know exactly how this would work. I'd have to read more into this. But, there's regions that cannot grow trees. The Sahara Desert, for example, you can't grow a tree there. So if this could bring greenery to the desert, that's a big thumbs up. That's fantastic. So this is something to keep an eye on. I've been reading about this one for a number of years. I don't think it's real. I think it's pie in the sky. But I cross my fingers that it is real. Scientists create solar-powered machine that eats plastic and produces clean hydrogen. Now, I honestly don't care about, I do care about the hydrogen, clean hydrogen, but I'm more interested in cleaning up our oceans and our waterways. Humankind is a disgusting animal. And ironically, some of the most left-wing people are some of the dirtiest, most biggest polluters out there. Like, go look at the St. Lawrence in Montreal. They dump raw sewage into that. It's disgusting. It should be illegal, but the liberals keep empowering them to do it. So if somebody could come up with a way to create solar-powered machines that eat plastic, that would be awesome. We could start cleaning up our waters. Clean up our waters. It's better for our marine life. It's better for our wildlife. It's better for our water. Getting rid of pollution. I've been saying this since I was 7 years old, is we need to stop polluting. I'm not left-wing. Okay, let me be clear on that. I'm a moderate political. But it's common sense that we need to get rid of pollution. And if they can figure out a way to do that, huge thumbs up. I'm all in. Okay, this one, I'm including this one because it makes me laugh. I'm a gamer. And one of my favorite games is the Fallout series. And in the Fallout series, they have these portable energy canisters that power everything. And that's what they're claiming here is portable hydrogen cartridges powers cars and outdoor appliances. I think this is fiction. I really do, but I laughed when I saw it, especially with this picture, because that's right out of Fallout. But hey, if it's real, it could be a great way to, automobiles. Like, I hate EVs. I really do. They're not environmentally friendly, contrary to what the left likes to tell you. But if they could come up with an idea like this, and if it was viable, you plug in the cartridge and that powers your car, that actually would be environmentally friendly. So big thumbs up to that. This one's interesting. Scientists figured out how to use a lifetime of energy to get a lifetime of energy from 480 grams of thorium. Now, this is science fiction. As anyone that's been a science fiction fan knows, most of the science fiction from the 50s, 60s, 70s has already become science fact for the most part. So this actually might be true. If it is, it's great. I don't know how much thorium is in the world, but that's 480 grams is not a lot. So, this might be a future solution to energy. And the more options we have for energy, the better. We should not be dependent on any one energy, but we should not be eliminating any one energy. It's like I'm pro oil and gas because that is what we use right now. But if we can find viable solutions to replace it, I'm all for that. It's just there's been no viable solutions up to now. So I've told you what I think of solar panels. I absolutely hate wind turbines. They destroy the environment. They destroy the wildlife. They destroy birds. And every time a left-wing radical tells me, oh, what about cats? I want to punch them in the face. I really do. Because it's in a cat's nature to hunt, eat, sleep. And one of the things they hunt is birds. It's the nature cycle. Human turbines killing birds is not the nature cycle. That is man-made destruction of birds and wildlife. The two don't compare, and you're an absolute moron if you try to make that argument that they do. So the next one I got, drug for regrowing teeth enters human trials. Okay, I think I can think of a few dentists that might complain about this, but that would be fantastic. Like, I've been a long time user pain meds because of my spinal disease, and one of the side effects is up to age 30, I didn't have a cavity in my life. Now, 60% of my teeth are fillings. So if this is real and it comes out of human trials and is safe and everything, regrowing teeth would be fantastic to me. Absolutely fantastic. So I hope this is real. Okay, this one's kind of out of Star Trek, but I gobble up this sort of stuff. Finnish scientists cloaked objects from magnetic sensors, bending fields like invisibility for compasses and MRIs. Cloaking is science fiction, but as I said already, most science fiction has become science fact. So cloaking's been in science fiction for a long time, so it wouldn't surprise me if they figure it out. And bending fields is a concept for cloaking that's been around forever. So this really could be true. I would not be the least bit surprised if they are examining it, at least. If Finnish scientists are examining it. How far they gone or whatever, who knows? It doesn't tell me, but This goes back to Germany has started installing solar fences along its highways, which are now cheaper than wood and create electricity. This is what I was saying. It's like, don't spread out on the ground, put them beside your roads, highways, in towns as sound barriers. It's a no-lose situation. You put your solar panels up, they collect it, we get clean energy, and you're not that disgusting image of solar panels everywhere. And the other part of this is I read a report a number of years ago out of Vegas. Now, outside of Vegas is desert. Yet they were saying solar farms outside of Vegas were raising the temperature of the ground under the solar panels so high because they're flat and they're spread out over acres and acres and acres that even natural desert animals like roadrunners were dying off because they were changing the climate. I read about, I think it was about 15 to 20 years ago, the UK had solar farms on the water, and they were heating the water to a mile underneath the solar farms, which was killing the fish because they were changing the temperature. So putting solar panels on the ground is not the solution. But if you do it vertically, so you're limiting how much ground mass is being taken, that could be a solution. My solution has always been to put them in space. Let's put up a solar farm in space. I'm not a scientist, so I don't know how we get the energy down, but we put it out in outer space and we're not disrupting our own climate. And it's so ironic to me that the people that claim they're doing it for climate change are changing the frickin' climate with their inventions. German engineers have built a system called dual harvesting, where they lay solar panels over crops to generate power and plants at the same time. So think of a greenhouse, and you need heat. So that solves what I was just talking about, is the solar panels heat underneath it. So in this picture, you can see they're not putting acres and acres. It's condensed onto greenhouses, but it heats the greenhouses. And then it also stores the energy. So again, fantastic idea. And this is what we need to be looking at, in my opinion. Concepts like this, what I call vertical farming. They call it dual harvesting. I call it vertical farming, vertical design, because you're doing it in layers. Rather than going this way, you're going this way. I think that's a much smarter approach to it. So I told you what I thought of wind turbines with the blades. I absolutely detest them. So this one I like. No blades, no noise, just pure power. New vibration powered wind turbine generates 4 times more energy. Now what this is it's stationary, so birds can fly through this, but it's creating a vibration turbine down, and that's how they're creating the wind power. So I got in a big argument once with a buddy of mine. Well, I don't even know if he's a buddy of mine, but he was the one that said the cat thing, and I just hate that argument. And I was saying, like, why can't we take these wind turbines and put a mesh over them so that birds can't fly into the turbines? The wind can still get through the mesh, so you can still create the power, but the birds can't get in. Oh, no, you can't do that. You can't do that. Why not? So this is a great idea. These don't turn. There's no blades. So they're not a danger to wildlife. They're not a danger to birds. They create, through their design, they create vibration powered that creates 4 times more energy than a normal wind turbine would. I think that's fantastic. If this works the way they're advertising it, awesome. Now, the other problem with these wind turbines is they say they're they're green energy, yet they use more oil and steel than, the amount of oil and steel required to build these things is astonishing. So they're not very green at all, and they have a relatively short lifespan. I don't know about these ones particularly, but the normal blade turbines, they have a relatively short lifespan before you have to replace them. So you're constantly using more oil and steel, which kind of defeats the purpose, doesn't it? And the last one I got for you today, I love this. This is out of the Jetsons, and I've seen more and more reports of these type of things. This is the one I'm showing you. It's sleek. It looks great, but there's other ones out there. There's like hover bikes out of Star Wars and everything. It's a hybrid 3-seat EV TOL, aims for 500-mile flights at 220 miles an hour. So you can go quite a distance, and then you land, you recharge, and you can go quite a distance. A hell of a lot better than a hybrid car, let me tell you. And because you're not stuck to the highway, you can, if you're going 500 miles to your destination in the air is a lot shorter than 500 miles on a road like this. So I love it. And it's, it looks sharp. I got to admit, it's appealing aesthetically. So anyway, that's what I wanted to make this video on for Let's Talk this week. I love this shit. I really do. It's so hard to tell if this stuff is real or not because, well, let's be honest, social media is not the most reliable at times, and our modern media, our mainstream media is even less reliable than social media nowadays. So mostly we just got to wait to see. But some of the stuff I showed you is actually going on that I pointed out. Some of it I'm pretty sure is actually in the developmental stage. And then some of it I think is just conceptual and pie in the sky. But I eat this stuff up. It's like, I don't know how to say it. I love this stuff. It's like, that's the world I want to live in, is with stuff like that, But we'll see, most likely I'm almost 60 years old, so most likely I'm not going to be around to see most of this stuff. But my nephew and my niece will. And, they could have a really interesting future. So cross fingers and hope. Anyway, that's my video. I wanted to move away from the serious stuff and just talk about, get a topic going, get people thinking. Like I said, I love this stuff, so it's interesting to me. I'm going to do this probably once every 2 months. I'll come out with a new video as I collect more and more technology articles that I like. So anyway, if you like this video, please leave a like, a subscribe, and a share. I'm trying to grow my channel, and a like, a subscribe, and a share does me wonders, and I do appreciate it. I really do. Always feel free to leave a comment. I would love to have conversations on this stuff. Do you agree? Do you disagree? What are your fears? I mean, some of the medical stuff people have got to have some fears about, I would think, especially the robot one. I know I'm constantly reading people screaming, Terminator and AI and blah, blah, blah. So, yeah. So leave a comment. Tell me what your thoughts are. The other reason I would ask for that is when you comment, it helps me with the YouTube algorithm with interactions, and that gets the algorithm to push my videos to more eyes, more people, and that helps. So as always, pew, 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 and shit. Thanks for watching. Bye.